way.
Wow.
I felt it in my heart.
That was some fresh energy right there.
Hey.
I mean, we were just freestyling before the cameras were rolling.
We were literally just freestyling about today's topic, which before we get to, you're all welcome for being able to look at my Hobbit feet today.
Yeah, still hot or cold on the Bledsoe Sets OnlyFans at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, look, if I get enough DMs saying, hey, Nick, I really love your hairy toes, we'll see where it goes. I mean, that rhymed.
I would totally support you having a big, fresh pay pig.
A big, fresh pay pig?
Yeah, just like look at pictures of your feet. I couldn't think of anything better.
You know what, man? Because I've had a lot of problems with these feet. So,
if by problems you mean like people getting whiplash from turning their head, then
yeah, how'd you know?
I mean, that's a good problem to have.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I got tiny feet, dude. But hey, that don't mean nothing.
Okay.
That don't mean nothing.
I didn't say no. I didn't say anything.
You know what that means?
Nothing.
What does that mean?
Tiny shoes.
It's just size. It's just like what Yoda said. Size matters not.
There you go. That's what today's episode is. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, so we're going to talk about alchemy. It's one of literally one of the most interesting subjects on the entire planet that most people have no clue what it's about because it's so saturated into pop culture with all this like mythology. And, I really like taking a historical approach to alchemy and just kind of running back like where it came from.
I would like to know that because I know a little bit about alchemy, like literally everything we talk about on this show. I know very little, and Ryan blows my mind every episode with crazy facts and details and history and shit like that. So that's what I'm most excited about. I want to learn about the history. I want to learn about the symbols. I want to learn about it all.
The symbols are incredibly complicated.
I'm sure. There's a ton of them, right?
Yeah. And the cool thing about the symbols is they tend to be in some way inspired by or based on like the elements of the natural world and the celestial bodies like the stars, the planets, the moon. Your top, off the top of my head, the three really well-known alchemical symbols are like, I think it's salt, mercury, which is also known as quicksilver, and man, I am really...
Salt,
mercury, and I'm just blanking all of a sudden on the spot.
Lead, gold,
no,
something like that.
Shit, dude, I'm not off to a good start.
Shit,
salt, mercury. Let's look up those.
Every time I think about alchemy,
because I didn't focus on the symbolism when I was doing my research.
Every time
is
I think
it sulfur?
Yes.
Hey,
how could I forget that? Salt, mercury, and sulfur. Those are the three like most well-known symbols of alchemy, and they tend to be symbolic of like things about your inner nature. Like the mercury is like the quickening process. Quicksilver, how mercury has a very crazy property, how it basically can turn to like liquid and then restructure itself.
Right.
That's metaphorical of your soul. Mm-hmm. And things of that nature. That's how the symbolism works. There are these very complex, secretive allegories or metaphors about spiritual concepts. So most people have a very gross, disgusting, just like, just
yucky,
filthy misconception about alchemy. And I remember being in chemistry class, first day in class.
Alchemistry class?
Alchemistry class? Well, that's where the word chemistry comes from. It's from
Uh-huh.
alchemy. And I remember learning on the first day of chemistry back in high school. I mean, this would have been like 12 years ago, 13 years ago or something like that. And
who was your teacher?
Miss Cash.
Oh, sick.
Yeah,
nice.
Miss Cash.
Nice.
And we were doing slides on like the origins of chemistry, and that was one of the focuses of that class that day. And I had never really heard of alchemy other than Full Metal Alchemist, the cartoon from our childhood. I was like a 16-year-old kid.
Yeah, for sure.
And she was like, yeah, back in the older days, like the 1600s, the 1700s, they weren't as smart as we are now. Obviously, you always learn that, like how back then they would have these crazy ideas and they would develop science, and it was these guys trying to like make these potions and turn metal into gold and turn lead into gold. And that's like the popularized understanding of alchemy. But
yeah, that's what most people think alchemy is. It's just some dated concept where people were trying to turn different metals to gold for financial gain or whatever.
But it couldn't be farther from the truth. It was actually a very secretive, initiatory, esoteric practice whereby people would spend their entire lives trying to decipher the language and the mystical symbols and metaphors of alchemy. And there were real people who would spend their entire lives driving themselves to insanity trying to like find the Philosopher's Stone, this legend where they could turn metals into gold. Like people really did do that.
Yeah.
But the true alchemists, the ones like Sir Isaac Newton,
Mm.
Sir Francis Bacon, who, by the way, was the imperator of the Rosicrucians back in like the 1700s. That means he was like the head of the Rosicrucians.
Oh,
Sir Francis Bacon.
That's what it's called, an imperator?
The imperator,
like the
yeah.
tippy top?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep, Sir Francis Bacon, Sir
I had
Isaac
no
Newton.
idea.
Just off the top of my head, those are two of the like most famous Rosicrucians / alchemists ever. And then you have really cool figures that I wanted to go a little bit more into later, like John Dee.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most fascinating persons in history, like in all of history. And so it started with the Emerald Tablets. And the Emerald Tablets weren't discovered till sometime around like the medieval ages or something.
What is the year of like the medieval, like around what year?
It would be like
span?
the 1200s, 1300s,
Gotcha.
1400s.
That's when they
something of-
found the Emerald Tablets of Thoth?
Mm-hmm. And could you verify that for me? Because I ran through, like, I didn't write down dates and shit like that. I have some things to reference, but I try not to play on my phone in class, you know what I mean? But, so they found these Emerald Tablets.
Do you know where they found them?
I want to say it was found in Arab-speaking countries. I could be
that
wrong
makes
on that.
sense.
But there was a lot of mystical, like, artifacts and relics being discovered in a lot of Arab-speaking countries.
Yeah.
And a lot of, like, not Muslim, but Islam religion was blended with Sufism and things like that, which was the, like, kind of mystical, secretive versions of Islam. Really cool stuff. And you get, other texts that were alchemical, like the Keys of Solomon and shit.
Oh, man.
Where you have, like, Solomon wearing a ring with a pentacle on it, and it talks about him, like, using ritual magic to summon demons and enslave them to build the temple. Just really wild texts.
Solomon has some crazy stories. We could do a whole episode about Solomon.
We should.
I would be so down.
That'd be a great caveat into, like, Templars.
Me and my wife have spent hours talking about Solomon. It goes so deep.
Yeah, Solomon is a very profound esoteric figure in the. I mean, he was basically like a wizard.
Mm-hmm.
And when you read the Bible, it's funny because it like the Old Testament, the canon version, it plainly talks about how he. It doesn't say all the mystical shit. It just said he had the most knowledge and wisdom of anybody in the world, and it drove him crazy. And
right.
Then you read the other text, and it's like, I get it.
Yeah.
And anyway, so like alchemy is such a broad subject. So where I wanted to kind of drop in was the mystery schools of Egypt.
Epic.
We've talked about this before, how back in the dynasty, I think it was the 18th dynasty, maybe, I could be wrong on that, but under the reign of Thutmose III.
Yeah.
That's when the mystery schools were becoming exceedingly popular. And it wasn't like it was all one umbrella.
Sure.
It was just like you had some here, you had some here, you had some here. And Thutmose, the pharaoh or the king of Egypt at the time, was so fascinated by these mystery schools, he decreed that they would all be one like unified thing.
Wow.
And eventually that came to be known as like your mystery schools of today, like Rosicrucianism, Freemason. But it all comes from that. It all comes from those incubation times where the mystery schools were transmitting ideas from one another.
Right. It was like all these different mystery schools or all these different groups were discovering all this stuff around the same time.
Yes.
But at completely different, areas of the planet. And like it was pretty difficult to transmit the information.
Right, because a lot of it was counter to what was being taught exoterically at the time by like the priestly class and the people out in the broad daylight who, the government figures, the ruling figures, the political figures, they didn't necessarily always vibe with the common man or like the peasant class learning the mystery knowledge, because what was it? It was the secrets of consciousness. It's the stuff we talk about on the show.
And also, I'm sure even as far back as then, they were like, intending to use exoteric religion as a form of control.
Absolutely.
It goes as far back as that and even further. They had it was really kind of ingenious in a very dark and evil way, the way that they twisted, exoteric religion to be able to oppress people and control people.
And we can largely thank the Vatican for that.
Thanks, Vatican.
Thanks, Vatican. Shout down.
Shout in.
Yeah, so, yeah, not out.
Shout in the Vatican.
We're going to push them down.
Sorry, Alex. Love you.
No, I don't hate Catholics. I'm not condemning Catholic people or anybody who believes that way. I'm just saying the institution, it's hard to deny that they're not probably the most evil institution in the world. It's hard to deny that they are.
Definitely. Anytime we talk about any kind of popular exoteric religion or whatever, like we are not disparaging the followers of
or the people.
Not at all.
Yeah,
not at all.
Just, I grew up Pentecostal. Like
exactly.
I'm not judging anybody for what they believe.
No, not at all. But you know these big institutions, which like that's what the Vatican is. It's an institution. It's they do some fucked up shit.
Yeah,
they do.
They do.
But that doesn't mean you can't go to church and Hail Mary. I mean,
yeah.
What were you gonna say, Alex?
Or Hail Mary at home.
Or
anyway,
Hail Mary at
I
home.
haven't found the date that the Emerald
okay.
tablets were found yet, but I have found a date that they were translated into Latin.
Okay.
That's 1541. So I did read that they were found. Where am I at here? They believe that they were found. It's under this temple. With the Hermes Trismegistus's corpse clutching the tablets. That's what they believe.
Oh, you know what's cool about that? I just looked it up, and they were said to be discovered, like found around 200, somewhere between 200 and 800.
Wow.
Where'd you find that? I'm over here. I've been looking.
I just Googled the textual history of the Emerald. Between
nice.
200 and 800. So the idea of most people don't know exactly what the Emerald tablets are. And it was literally a slab made of emerald.
Wow.
And it had carvings on it. And the carvings were essentially the whole tenets of Hermeticism and where that mystery system comes from. Remember Hermeticism?
Of course.
It's like the most ancient doctrine, like from the Wisdom of Atlantis.
That's interesting because, the tablets with the 10 Commandments in the Bible.
Yeah.
Very, very similar.
Yeah, that's true.
Imagine seeing a slab of emerald with like carvings on it and in Egyptian like
I don't recall the language.
Right.
But you know who has the most famous translation of the Emerald Tablets of all time?
Who?
Isaac Newton.
No.
Yeah, he was a Rosicrucian, bro.
I had no idea.
Bro, listen. I know I keep saying this, but I will gift you a copy. I want you to read the Da Vinci Code.
Dude, okay. So, quick aside, don't forget where you were going with that. Me and my wife just started watching Ted Lasso. It's one of the best shows I've ever seen.
I'm curious about it now.
It's incredible. And in the second season, one of the main characters is reading the Da Vinci Code, and he's literally talking about like the Knights Templar. And
it's all in the book.
Yeah.
The Rosicrucians.
And as soon as I saw that, it reminded me that I need to read that. And I told Casey, I was like, okay, that's going to be one of the next.
I'll get you a copy when you least expect it.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, you sent me Dune,
that was ominous.
Yeah. I'll just be like, bam, motherfucker. But,
bam.
No, honestly, I'm telling you, though, like, aside from all the mystical stuff that's in it, it is literally like, your hair is standing up. It is a page turner. Because the way every chapter is written is, like, on an action point or on a mystery point. You're like, ah!
So my TBR right now is I'm finishing up Clash of Kings, which is the second Game of Thrones book.
Nice.
Then I'm reading the Etymologicon, which is like a language book.
For Game of Thrones?
No. Etymologicon is just a cool book.
Like real languages?
Yeah, exactly. It just talks about like where words come from and stuff. I'm a nerd about that kind of stuff. I'm obsessed with words and stuff. And then after Etymologicon will be Da Vinci Code.
Nice.
I will undoubtedly do it.
Cool,
I'll check it out from the library. I don't care.
Dude, it's phenomenal. And it's short too. It's maybe 300 pages. It's not a lengthy book.
I remember my parents had a copy in their house, and then I guess it was my mom that was reading it, and she got like halfway through it and threw it in the trash.
Yeah, because it's mystical shit.
Right, exactly.
It's very like subversive to mainstream Christianity.
I remember when the movie first came out, like there was a huge wave of hate towards it from like Christian groups and Catholic groups and stuff like that.
Right, yeah, and you'll see why when you read it.
But I'm excited.
Phenomenal book. I just cannot recommend it enough. It is a phenomenal book. And anyway, so I was saying, like, in the Da Vinci Code, they go to Rosslyn Chapel, which is, I think it's in Scotland. I'm not sure, but it's like one of the famous Rosicrucian chapels. It talks about Isaac Newton. It talks about the metaphor of like the apple falling from the tree, and it's the apple of Eden. And that's like one of the mystical things that they're trying to find is the symbolism behind the apple. And like, bro,
sounds like early Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Did Isaac Newton really sit under a tree and a fucking fruit fell on his head and he's like, I know the laws of gravity. I speculate that maybe that's a little mythological story that was put. I don't know, but he was into that. He was a Rosicrucian. Anyway.
I don't know, man. Have you ever heard of those cases where people get those severe head trauma and then they come out smarter or
Yes,
like
I
know
have.
a different language like instantly?
Yeah.
That's
Not-
real.
Hey, yeah, that's a good point.
That's real.
I mean, I believe with what you're saying. I'm just playing devil's
I heard a
advocate
story
here,
of a
really.
guy who
That's
dove
cool.
into a pool, and this was like on TV somewhere. I never met this guy. He dove into a pool, and the pool was too shallow or something, and he had like a severe head injury.
Jeez.
And when he recovered from it, he was a savant musician. Like it just changed.
Oh, dude,
Yeah, like that kind of stuff does happen.
That's how I want to learn music.
Just like, come here, dude. Yeah, I'll just pop you in the head.
Yeah. We got plenty of things we can hit you over the head with, Alex.
Yeah, we'll just
Why
keep
spend your whole
swinging
life
until
learning?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
We're gonna keep swinging until he's finally like, oh.
And then he can be in the band with us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really why.
Exactly. We'll get it,
Nice.
man. We'll make it work.
We'll get there. We'll just every now and then we'll throw a couple hits in. You
Yeah.
know, what's up, bro? Pop.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll start beating on you.
So the Emerald Tablets, it all started from there, and you know the decipherings of the Emerald Tablets, and the text is basic. It's a small amount of text to fit on one slab of
Mhm.
emerald, and it's I can't recite it off the top of my head, but it's essentially like
The laws of Hermeticism.
essentially, yeah, it's a very concise explanation of this being a reality where consciousness is being like transformed. You know, like
Gotcha.
the Hermetic laws, the as above, so below, that comes from there.
God, from
And-
the Emerald Tablets.
And just the Hermetic wisdom in general. And then over time, there was this mythology that blew up about alchemy in like the Renaissance ages in Europe and Arab-speaking countries. You got to think, back then, they're sitting in their room at night by a candle reading this shit and like writing it down and interpreting it. They're not like on forums talking about it. And this group has this one way to think about it. This group has another way. And the next thing you know, you have this legend of Nicholas Flamel, who became immortal, who was a real person, by the way.
Yeah.
Nicholas Flamel, who becomes immortal because he found the Philosopher's Stone. Well, there's probably mythology behind that as well.
Sure.
Yeah. But so anyway, so what it's about, the whole spiritual alchemy, so to speak, is like the Western discovery or the Western revival of the Far Eastern mystical practices of reaching enlightenment, such as Dzogchen, also known as rainbow body, or as they say in Japanese Buddhism, Satori. It's the concept that through transforming, by breaking down your soul in its current state when you're born, it's lead, right?
Yeah.
When you break it down and you, metaphorically speaking, you put it through fire, like you just put it under intense pressure. Yeah, which is trauma, your life experiences, the things you're going through, karma, and how you react to those situations. Your ego barriers, looking deep into yourself and kind of like overcoming your trauma blocks on your mind is how you turn to gold.
Yeah.
It's not about like turning little rocks into gold like what is taught. It's truly a spiritual journey, and it's what they've been teaching as far back as like Kathmandu in Tibet, which was, you know, the mystical tantric yoga practices of reaching rainbow body. It's essentially a path to reach Christ consciousness. See, there's a split in the mystical schools. You have these two terms that people get so lost in. You have like the enlightenment rainbow body Buddha concept, and then you have the Christ consciousness concept, but they're honestly the same thing.
Yeah.
Just from, you know, different cultures. And alchemy is the path to reach that. But
Golden Path.
The golden path. Yeah. It's see, what's really cool is there was this belief in the ancient forms of mystical knowledge or alchemy or what have you, where there's a force, there's an eternal life force all around us. And in their terminology,
And penetrating us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Surrounding us. That's relevant. Obi-Wan hit show. Not sure if anybody out there has ever heard of it.
It's so good.
Cool new show.
It just finished a couple days ago. So
Oh yeah, we just had our
movie night.
we had movie night last night. Star Wars
Yeah.
Episode 4. So fun.
So much fun. Thank you so much to everybody who hung out with us in the Discord and watched Star Wars. We literally talked the entire time. It was like Mystery Science Theater. It was
awesome.
A blast.
We're
and
definitely gonna keep doing that.
Can't wait to do it again. We're gonna put up a poll for you guys to vote on what movie we want to watch next.
Yeah, that was honestly awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
The
they
Force.
believed that there was this omnipresent force of consciousness that was around in all things, and that the path of alchemy was about transforming your inner nature to allow yourself to be filled with like the power of this eternal positive force. And their word for it was Azoth. Kind of sounds like Azathoth from H.P. Lovecraft, or World of Warcraft. What's the realm called?
It's
Azeroth.
Azeroth.
Yeah, you start to see that name kind of like pop up in pop culture. And that's the thing about alchemy, is it has saturated pop culture.
Wait, so one more time. Azoth is what?
It's like the force.
It's the force.
It's yeah.
Okay, that's
or
what they
as
call
in the Bible they would call it the Holy Ghost or the Holy Spirit.
Holy Spirit.
There's always been, since before civilization ever even recorded this, there has always been the concept that there is a force of consciousness all around us. And then over time, the big fucking Vatican idiots are like, actually,
it's a person.
It's this dude with a beard, and he sits on a fucking throne, and he's going to judge you if you think about your neighbor when you're in middle school, because
this sounds very specific.
I mean, all the little boys out there, or the young girls thinking about like their middle school crushes, and they're like, I'm not supposed to blah blah blah. Like, the Vatican religion has turned into this like, you thinking something off color, you're going to hell, bitch. Off color, you thinking out of pocket. You can't be coveting your neighbor like that.
Oh my God!
Remember with the Isaac episode?
Yes.
Yeah.
Real quick thing about that. I know I keep getting you off track, but
I don't care.
What you just said reminded me that. So for Father's Day, we hung out with my dad.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Ryan and I went over to my dad's house and hung out, and we found out that Dad used to live next door to your dad for like years, right?
Not next door, but my dad, where I lived.
Oh, right. No. So,
the same place me and you lived from each other.
Right, exactly. But your dad's at the time
first wife,
right? Yeah. And they lived in that house. And so my dad saw your dad all the time.
I know, that is so. I never knew that. He never told me that.
There. Yeah, and then like we started talking about it, and Dad knew like all the details of like your family. He knew about your grandpa.
He dated one of my cousins.
He dated one of your cousins.
So it's like we were meant to be friends.
Yeah.
It's so weird because I've known Nick's dad for like going on 16 years now, something like that, and I finally just found out that he actually like knew my whole family when that was bizarre.
Yeah, it was pretty bizarre.
That was bizarre. That was really cool.
The reason it reminded me of that is because he said when he was 12 and they lived next door, they had just gotten a pool, and he was like, I was an excited 12-year-old. There's hot girls in the pool next door to me.
And the funny thing is that girl was my dad's first wife. Yeah, so
it's so weird.
So funny.
It's such a small world.
It is. It's so weird.
We go even further
Our
back
ancestors
than we even knew. It's insane. Yeah.
So
anyway,
weird.
I got you off track, but yeah, we're talking about the Azoth, the Force consciousness.
Yeah. So it was believed. Like that's again, like we didn't just make this shit up. It's always been around. The fact that there is an omnipresent force, and it's crazy when you think about the influence that this concept has had. Think about Star Wars. It's probably the greatest pop culture story ever told. I mean, I really believe that.
Factual, yes.
I really believe that.
I don't even think anybody could argue with that. It is one of the best stories ever told. It's the quintessential hero story or hero's journey. It has duality. It has everything. Pretty much every metaphysical or esoteric concept you can imagine, even crystals.
Yeah,
their blades are made of crystals,
bruh,
refracting light.
Remember how I've been hyped because I've been recently I'm like currently.
DBZ.
No, not just that. I was going to go into that next, but I'm currently watching Empire of Dreams.
Right.
And
the documentary.
Right, and it's fresh on my mind. But George Lucas's first concept of the Force, it wasn't going to just be a force. The first draft was they were going to get their power from a mystical crystal known as the Kyber crystal.
That's right.
And then he changed it to be into the saber.
Exactly.
It's just crazy. Like, yeah, crystals were very integral to the formation of Star Wars. It's fucking wild. Which is not really out of left field because it turns out that George Lucas, when asked where he came up with his inspiration, he got it from the occult.
Mm-hmm.
He's very open about how he was an avid reader of Joseph Campbell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
Joseph Campbell does not come out and say, I'm an occultist. Most people don't do that.
Sure. Yeah.
But what Joseph Campbell is known for is taking what we do, a very syncretistic approach to the ancient myths and religions, and finding the commonalities between them and comparing and contrasting these ancient belief systems and their mythologies.
Literally theosophy.
Pretty much.
Literally
Pretty much.
theosophy.
Yeah. And that's what Star Wars is based on.
Mm-hmm.
So, like,
yeah, if you guys haven't seen that documentary, it's on Disney Plus.
Yes.
It's called Empire of Dreams.
it's incredible.
And if you're a Star Wars fan in any capacity, you'll be obsessed with that documentary.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And the cool thing about it is it was made like 15 years ago or longer.
I haven't seen it in probably 7 or 8 years at least.
It used to run on TV.
I watched it on TV back
Me
in
too.
the day. I recorded it on our DVR.
Yeah, I watched it on TV
And,
when I was like 15.
Yeah.
But it's cool because it's pre-Disney, so it tells like the real actual history of like Star Wars before it was bought and changed. And anyway, it's a cool documentary. But it's funny because you find that alchemy and these mystical traditions influence everything in pop culture.
Yeah, Star Wars is extremely alchemical.
And yeah, and so is DBZ.
Mhm.
Like I was watching, I'm watching through it right now, and I got an itch on my butt to watch a documentary about Dragon Ball Z because I was like, fuck it, I just enjoyed Empire of Dreams. Turns out Akira Toriyama grew up in the 70s. He was a Star Wars nerd.
Huge Star Wars.
And then, of
fan.
course, Superman. He liked Superman.
Uh-huh. Oh,
so
yeah.
he took the set and setting kind of Star Wars, like the galaxy.
Yeah.
Over time, it became this empire kind of thing with Frieza. And the characters are like Superman, how they fly like heroes, though. They fly. And
Oh, dude, Goku
godlike beings.
is literally like Superman. He's literally.
In Dragon Ball, there is a parody character that is Superman. I'm not sure if you've seen that. He's a short little guy, and he wears a cape and a suit like Superman, and he's like a little dweeb.
What's his name?
He's a little filler character.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I don't remember that.
It's just like an homage to Superman.
I don't think I've ever watched Dragon Ball all the way through.
Oh, dude, it's so good. Skip the filler, though.
I've watched some of it, but yeah, Dragon Ball Z is essentially like Star Wars mixed with Superman, and then like also I don't know,
Ultraman, Sentai.
It's very
that was the other
Ultraman,
thing.
But then Journey to the West.
Yeah. That's the character. The whole like Goku. Initially, he was gonna be a monkey.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's based on Wukong thematically.
Yeah.
But then like power wise,
He's like Superman.
He's kind of like inspired by Superman, and then the whole set and setting is Star Wars. But yeah, the other thing about Akira Toriyama is he was also obsessed with the Sentai shows, like the precursor to Power Rangers,
Nice.
Ultraman,
Super Sentai?
Godzilla.
Yeah.
That's why you always have these fights turn like the Ozaru and the big apes and
Yeah, dude, they fight dinosaurs in the old Dragon.
Yeah,
like,
and
there's-
giant beasts. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
super cool. But anyway, back from that. So alchemy, and then you have like Full Metal Alchemist, and then Castlevania.
Whew, that's a good show, dude.
The entire plot is about alchemy.
Yeah, and with Full Metal Alchemist as well.
Do you? Yeah, for sure.
The whole plot.
Do you care if I spoil Castlevania just
No.
for the sake of the episode?
No.
You really don't?
I
Okay.
don't. No.
So the whole point.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Castlevania is super good,
on
super dark.
Netflix.
Yeah, it's a Netflix original anime, but like it's definitely like
Awesome.
made for American audiences. So
Yeah.
even if you're not crazy into anime, you'll probably still like it.
Mm-hmm.
And Dracula is an alchemist.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool because it goes a little bit into the symbology where he like does these little ritual summonings and things of that nature. But by the end of the show, the villain in season 4 is the actual summoned incarnation of death itself.
Oh, that's so cool.
And what he's trying to do is create basically a homunculus, which is they take the corpse of Dracula's wife and Dracula
Mhm.
and stitch them
Together,
together
yeah.
to create an androgynous being so that the spirit of death can possess this form and reign chaos on Earth. And like it's
That's
so crazy.
That's so cool.
And bro, and like there's even a character in the show named Saint Germain, which was a real life legendary alchemist.
Damn.
And admittedly, I don't know much about Saint Germain. I like to go more into John Dee. But anyway, there's just so many cool pop culture references to alchemy. There was a couple things I wanted to bring up, like blah, 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 blah. The Emerald Tablet. Let's talk about the Crystal Emerald.
Okay.
So the Crystal Emerald.
Which, by the way, is the state crystal of North Carolina.
That is so dope.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no accident that the emerald crystal was used in terms of like the emerald tablet, and like in Sonic you have the Chaos Emerald.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
And the Master Emerald.
the Master Emerald,
Yeah.
Sonic, and people might think that's cheesy, but it's still an incredibly influential, world-changing pop culture reference. So it's
Guess what? It is cheesy. And it's awesome. It's super awesome.
It is, but what I'm saying is, like, despite what people may think about these franchises and these intellectual properties, they're still incredibly worldwide, global phenomenon that,
Totally.
you know, you could imagine that people greenlighting certain plots and themes and shit will be like, make it an emerald.
Yeah.
Make him turn gold.
Uh-huh.
You know, and it's just no coincidence that the emerald was used in the emerald tablets particularly. So you find in ceremonial magic, I'm going to read this quote: "The emerald crystal is a stone of inspiration and eternal patience, which means that it promotes friendship and equality." Man, I'm dyslexic. Promotes friendship and equality among partners and is famous for providing contentment and loyalty. Mystical circles associate emerald with the emerald tablet of Hermes Trismegistus, which holds the secret to hermetic wisdom. As the stone of wisdom, it enhances memory and increases mental clarity by combining clarity and intelligence. And then, I thought I wrote this down. To escape the... I thought I wrote this down, but I had a total quote where it was showing that in the medieval ages, they would wear emerald talismans and emerald jewelry, and they would clutch emerald crystals during their ritual magic ceremonies because they believed that the emerald harnessed energy to make the ritual magic actually work.
Whoa.
Like, it was an extremely esoteric stone.
That's sick.
And then if you want to get like really deep into like the meaning behind the colors and the things of that nature, the whole point of alchemy or any sort of mystical spiritual tradition is about transforming your inner nature.
Yeah.
But, you know, anybody knows that the heart chakra is the key to unfolding your being. Like, it's the bridge between the physical and the spiritual. What color is the heart chakra? It's the color green.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if the emerald crystal particularly had esoteric significance and all this mythology behind it, because back in those days it was used by mystic sages in the opening of the heart chakra kind of situation.
Gotcha.
Like the energy that it brings, resonating with that energy and turning that lead into gold. But man,
I have a question. Why are they called the Emerald Tablets of Thoth?
Because you have the metaphor of the sage being who brought the wisdom from Atlantis to our version of mankind being Hermes Mercurius Thoth, or Hermes Trismegistus, thrice greatest.
So then, does that insinuate that Hermes Trismegistus is Thoth?
Yes.
Gotcha.
The idea so it started off as a real man, Hermes Trismegistus.
Okay.
He was believed to be a real man, and actually he was believed to be Enoch from the Bible.
Right.
That's just believed. Again, I didn't make that up. That's what a lot of these mystical circles believe. He was believed to possibly be Enoch from the Bible, the scribe of God. In the Old Testament, they call Enoch the scribe of God.
Yeah.
Thoth is the scribe. He always has the feather pen, and he's the scribe of the gods in Egypt. Mercury,
That's what
he's the messenger god.
Uh-huh.
The Roman version, Hermes.
Yeah.
So what they did, the Greeks and the Egyptians back in like early like 1st century or whenever they came up with this particular mythology for the mystery schools, they took Mercury from Rome, Hermes from Greek, and Thoth from Egypt, and realized that they were all basically the same archetype, and they merged it into one sage-like entity known as Hermes Trismegistus,
Gotcha.
thrice greatest.
Thrice
Because
greatest.
he's threefold: Hermes, Mercury, and Thoth. Also known as Hermes Mercurius Thoth.
Thoth.
But in reality, he could have very well been a real man too.
Yeah, sure. I think we've talked about that before, how like it's potentially Hermes Trismegistus was at the time the holder of the Christ consciousness.
Right. Yeah,
know?
that's the whole point of this.
Yeah.
The man who wrote the Emerald Tablets, and that's where alchemy comes from. So more specifically, alchemy was, it was a practice, but it was a secret practice. The intention behind alchemy at the time was to conceal the meanings. And that's why you have all these symbols that look like dots and lines and scratches through. Like, you have a little triangle with a line through it, and you have a circle with a dot. It's like, what the fuck does this mean?
Yeah.
They had this code, which was known by scholars to potentially have been the Twilight Language. They believe that the Twilight Language was created to conceal the terminology and the meaning of all this stuff because it was heretical at the time. I mean, you'd be killed for this shit.
That's where the symbols come from. They were trying to pass down this information.
Yes, secretly through the ages.
That is the coolest.
Hey, The Secret Teaching of All Ages. I have that book by Manly P.
That's a book about alchemy?
That's just it's about all of it. It's about all of the mystical. It's way more than alchemy. Alchemy's like this. It's like this tiny little dot. And then the mystical knowledge is like this expansive, massive library of stuff that no one person could ever master.
Was alchemy in any way associated with like the Druids?
Well, see, that's hard to say because alchemy was like they were saying a lot of the same things.
The Druids and
yes, but
Gotcha.
Alchemy was like the Western civilization, medieval Renaissance era revival of these ancient mystery traditions.
Gotcha.
And the alchemists of Europe were coming up with ways to conceal this mystery knowledge behind symbols.
So then the Druids would have come far before that.
Yes, far before, just like the Egyptians. But it's a lot of the same stuff. And then you especially have the transmission of knowledge of the mystery schools. Like, for example, you have the Egyptian mystery schools of Thutmose, and then you had them intermingling with the Greeks, particularly in the times of Pythagoras, who was a gifted genius.
Yeah.
Pythagoras traveled all over the world back then.
Hey, bro, it's Pythagoras.
I thought you were about to say, no, I don't remember the Pythagorean theorem. Okay,
A squared plus B squared equals C squared, right?
Yeah. Which he probably
Got him.
He probably didn't even make that one up. They believe now. But
I think they just took the things that he actually did and then like just
threw him to the wayside.
Yeah, and mainstreamified him.
He was not just a mathematician. That
was probably a clever way to like conceal the things he was actually into.
I'm kind of thinking that too, because there are entire Pythagorean mystery schools today. I was actually invited to one by Nick Hinton.
Damn.
To go. I ended up not being able to go. None of us ended up going.
Yeah.
But so there are Pythagorean mystery schools. And back in the time when Pythagoras was alive, he traveled kind of like what Jesus did, kind of like what Hermes Trismegistus did, what all the sages did. He traveled through the East and the West and kind of syncretized a lot of that mystical knowledge, and particularly Egypt. Pythagoras is the guy who most likely deserves the credit for bringing the mystery knowledge of Egypt to Greece. Even Plato was writing about the genius of Pythagoras.
Right.
Because he was before.
Right.
I'm pretty sure. And
slightly before.
Yeah. Not very long, like 100 or something.
I think it's within
years.
A lifetime.
Yeah.
They may have even been alive at the same time.
I don't know.
Right.
But anyway, so Pythagoras, although he gets completely overlooked, and like everybody in philosophy school wants to talk Plato, that's fine. He's influential too. But Pythagoras should not be slept on.
Yeah, it's all like Plato and Socrates.
And what he was basically doing was he was taking this mystery school knowledge from Egypt, the sacred geometry that they taught, and the mysteries of consciousness, and how there truly is one God, but that one God is everything. Everything is an expression of the one consciousness.
That's what I've come to truly believe. Like when people ask me what I believe in terms of like spirituality / religion or whatever, that's exactly what I tell them.
Yeah, it's like, there is a God, but that God is also everything, everywhere, all at once.
Hey, I like what you did there.
I mean, I think that's what it's trying to say.
That hyped me up. That was good.
Yeah, I mean,
you deserve some credit for that.
I'll take it, Bubba.
You know what's funny? You might not know this, but I have a step grandmother, my grandma Fond.
The one out in Asheville?
Yes, the one out in Asheville. And she has, in my adult years, I'm learning now. This is the kind of stuff that she has always been into.
Really?
Yeah. Well, dude, and no shade to anyone in my family whatsoever, but growing up, there were definitely some conversations. I won't name names, but certain people in the family looked at that as like really funky and weird.
Yeah.
But like it and by proxy, I thought that too because I was an impressionable kid.
Yeah. And you're going to believe your parents first.
Exactly. Like they the church that she goes to and used to go to are they're two different churches, but they're similar in terms of like the belief system or whatever. But they believe in the Force, like the through metaphor, not the literal Star Wars,
not the
version,
Star Wars version,
but like the collective consciousness, and we are all God and whatever. And they had, because it's literally like the same thing, on like the piano at the church, they had little Star Wars figurines like Yoda and stuff like that.
Nice,
because that's
like, cool.
Yeah, but my
kind of like our
yeah, exactly, yeah. But my family used to like kind of shun that and be like, "That's weird. They got like little Yodas on the piano and stuff there." It's like, we don't. It's a little weird. It's funny though, because they read the Bible at that church,
right?
They read the Bible, they talk about the Bible, but sort of like what we talk about, they don't take it literally. Everything, they don't take it all literally. And it's more about the collective conscious and that kind of stuff.
That's awesome, dude.
It is really cool. And being an adult now and being able to talk with her about it and talk with them about it, it's really, really dope. They're an extremely open and accepting community. Like my step grandfather, her husband, Bob, he is an atheist. And he doesn't believe in a god or anything like that, but he leads their men's group, and he has led their men's group for years.
That's hilarious.
He's just all about positivity and community and being there for one another, being there for your neighbor.
I think deep down he's driven by a force or the force,
right? And
it's like that's really what matters. I think
so too.
Like, I mean, I do believe if you want to nitpick and like what I really believe, I feel like. Yeah, eventually the highest secret is learning the truth, the gnosis that there is this one eternal consciousness, but I don't think it's meant for everybody to get there in every lifetime. And
exactly.
It's all about positive progress towards that, and like his works shine, his spirit shines through his deeds, and that's really what matters.
That was put very eloquently.
It's like it's not
his
really
spirit shines through his deeds. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's one of my biggest problems with exoteric religion is like they teach that even if you're a great person and you have good thoughts, good words,
but
good
you
deeds,
gotta believe.
Yeah, if you don't believe in exactly the way we want you to believe, it doesn't matter how good of a person you are. You're gonna burn in hell forever.
Right.
It's like that just doesn't seem right to me. It also doesn't make sense.
I agree.
Because I believe in a roundabout way in kind of the Osirian, like you're weighing your heart at the end.
And sure, it's a metaphor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It is.
They're not going to literally rip your heart out of your corpse and drop it on a scale. It's a metaphor.
They did on Moon Knight. Spoiler alert.
Oh shit!
They straight up did.
I haven't finished that yet. I don't mind though. I don't mind.
I know you wouldn't mind. I knew it would just hype you up.
Yeah, that hypes me up.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's cool.
I knew it would. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. They're on like the boat, like
nice.
The hippo goddess is like guiding them through the boat, and she's literally telling them like, "All right, the scale's right there. We're gonna find out what's about to happen. You're either going into the field of reeds or you're getting dragged down." Like,
that's awesome.
They weigh their hearts. It's so cool.
That's cool. Yeah, I need to pick that back up.
Sure. Yeah, it's a great show.
But to get back on track to the Pythagoras thing. So Pythagoras was influential in bringing this, I'm going to say alchemical knowledge, even though at the time it wasn't called this.
Yeah.
From bringing this alchemical knowledge of the inner world, the secret of consciousness that, like exactly what Jesus said, that the kingdom of heaven is inside of you.
Mm.
Well, what he really means is you carry that divine spark of consciousness within you, and all you got to do is just know that and treat other divine beings with love and positivity. That's really it. And Pythagoras brought it to Greece. Then you have a lot of these like really prominent Orphic mystery schools popping up everywhere, which, sad to say, our Orphism episode probably got the least views of any ever.
Yeah.
I thought it was good, but it's okay.
No, it was a great episode. I think the
title, people were like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, a little intimidating.
Yeah, but like Orphism is incredibly influential as far as like Greco-Roman mysteries come and go.
Yeah.
And like you had this knowledge being transmitted through the I guess you could say the Grecian culture, through the Orphic mysteries and Dionysus.
Yes.
Potentially some sort of Dionysian-inspired project coming from us soon. But soonish. Anyway, and then after that, then Jesus comes around, and then he basically went out and he learned about all the secrets of consciousness and this alchemical knowledge. He started teaching about it. They capped his ass. They killed him, and then just like kind of like on The Boys. You know what I mean? Like on The Boys, where they have these heroes and these greedy fucking corporate people take their heroes and they just run their hair through the public and display this image of them that they want to put out. That's what happened to Jesus.
That's a really good way to put it.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
They took that dude and they took his legacy and they fucking dragged it through the mud. And they're like, you will go to hell if you don't believe this man the right way. But by the way, we fucking killed him.
Yeah, literally, exactly.
And now we're going to kill you if you don't believe him right.
It was all a plan.
It was a very evil plan.
From the beginning.
And now you mention Jesus. You go into a room with any sort of adults and you mention Jesus, and the people are, and I'm not mocking the people, but they're like, oh, I don't like that. I don't believe in that. Blah, blah, blah. Well, probably because everyone they've ever met in their life who did believe that way made it very blatantly obvious that they were judging them for not believing the same fucking way.
And that
you know what I mean?
That drives people away.
It does. It honestly traumatizes people.
It does.
It traumatizes people for life. And they've essentially, these really evil, vile motherfuckers have taken one of the most beautiful human beings on the planet and have made him hateable.
Yeah.
And it's sad. Anyway, that's a different conversation. But Jesus was this badass sage. And by the way, I didn't make that up either. That's taught by a lot of these mystery schools.
Like Jesus being a sage thing?
Yeah.
Like what sort of...
Like Rosicrucians and Freemasons, that's all about Jesus. They just don't tell the normies on the outside all about that.
Right, exactly.
It's all about the mystical secrets of Jesus and the truth of alchemy and the enlightenment to the higher realms of consciousness. That's what it's all about. That's what Jesus was saying. Bro, he walked around, he said, it ain't when you hit someone that you're sinning, it's when you think about it. Yeah, it's your inside.
You murder someone with your heart.
Yeah, or like it's not what you say, but it's what you
feel.
Intended. Yeah, that what you felt like what you intended on the inner world is going to reflect your outer world. But the sin, which I don't necessarily believe, in sin, right. I think it was a terminology of the time, and it got changed over time. But Jesus was saying the sin is not in the action, but it's in the intention. It's all about the inner world. He's straight up and he's like, we're children of light, and God is a being of light. Essentially, he didn't say a being of light. He said God is light. Yeah. Yeah, and in him there's no darkness. And if you want to see the face of the light, just kind of like live like me, dudes. Mm-hmm. Just be fucking good to people.
Just be chill.
Yeah, just be chill. Anyway, I get heated about that because I grew up with extreme traumatic Christianity, and I feel like I think a lot of people can relate to that. I mean, I've been working from home this job for 6 or 7 months. Started there,
yeah. Yeah, and we just went on site for the first time, and I made friends with multiple people. There were at least 4 or 5 people in there that opened up to me and told me that they had serious religious trauma.
Dude, it's bad in North Carolina. Yeah, it's just bad in the South.
It's the Bible Belt.
It's the Bible Belt.
Yeah.
It's bad around here.
Yeah.
Almost everybody our age, almost everybody we know, in one way or another, has some very severe religious trauma. And we ain't even talking about like some of the more severe forms, like Mormonism, Jehovah's Witness, and things like that. And maybe
Scientology.
Maybe well, that's not really Christianity.
Right.
It's
a weird,
but still, I've never met a Scientologist.
I don't think I have either, but I think that's probably by design.
My dad has.
Really? Yeah. Because, Scientologists, basically, there's a barrier of interest or of entry. And disclaimer, I have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. But anyway, there's kind of a barrier of entry with Scientology with like money. Like you have to have a lot of money.
It's a lifelong. It's straight up a cult.
You pay the church to be like a member. Yeah,
and you can't just like get out.
No,
it's a very serious cult.
Me and Casey are really interested in watching documentaries about Scientology and Mormonism because of
that'd be a cool episode, Scientology.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, and obviously we're gonna do the Mormonism one. That should come out in 2 weeks. We have some buddies in town. We're about to do somewhat of a Mormonism episode. Yeah, it'll be pretty cool.
That'll be a fun one.
But so back to the alchemy thing. Yeah, so and then like Jesus starts giving his message and it starts going really public, and he starts having thousands and thousands of people follow him around in crowds, and they kill him, and then they take his story and they
bastardize
it, they mythologize it, but there's still esoteric nuggets in the New Testament specifically. And then the Emerald Tablets are found. Particularly in the medieval and the Dark Ages, you start seeing a lot of this alchemical knowledge start spreading throughout the West, like Europe at the time. And then, I guess this isn't technically alchemy, but, Rosicrucians, and they use alchemical knowledge and things like that. Pretty much all of the mystery schools use alchemical knowledge. The Rosicrucians started putting out manifestos in the 1600s saying, like, hey, bitches, we're here. We've been around since the times of Egypt. We're alive and well.
Yeah.
And we've been waiting for humanity to be on the brink of the age of Aquarius to show our face.
Yeah.
And there was just this explosion of alchemical knowledge spreading through Europe in the Renaissance. And then you have people like Sir Isaac Newton, obviously, being one of the most famous alchemists ever. He was a Rosicrucian too. And then, of course, Sir Francis Bacon. But I'm going to switch to John Dee.
Yeah.
So John Dee is one of the most famous alchemists of all time, who probably like 70 or 80% of the world has no clue who he is. So could you look up when he was alive? It's just John and then D-E-E.
That's what I was
I don't know exactly. I want to say it was the 1700s. So this is a true story. So John Dee was the court occultist and astrologer and alchemist / you found it?
1527 to 1608.
I was way off. I said 1700s. But that just proves my point, though, that like in the medieval ages and in these ages, alchemy was so prevalent.
Hey, me and the Omis forgive you.
Yo,
Thank you.
By the time this is out, we'll be right on his birthday, I think.
Oh, nice.
July
way.
13th.
Hey,
so this
you
will
want to know a
come
little spoiler?
out.
Doctor Strange is
Bro,
based on John
This
Dee.
episode is out on his birthday.
No way.
Yo.
No way.
July 13th.
No way.
That's also Warren's birthday.
Happy birthday, Warren.
Happy birthday, Warren.
Love
Even
you,
though
buddy.
this is shot in June, happy birthday,
Happy
brother.
birthday.
Love you,
buddy.
That's my cousin, by the way,
Whoa.
Omis.
Yeah. What?
Just
Yeah,
wow.
that's kind of wild.
Yeah.
I had it in my,
Oh,
I
yeah,
wanted to
that's
go
crazy.
into John Dee. I initially wanted to do an entire episode about John Dee, and I was like, let's get our feet wet first,
Yeah.
But
So give me the rundown.
yeah. I had written a little quote about him, but
Did you say 1507 or 1520? 1520 something? Around there. Close enough.
okay, John.
Oh, sorry. I was reading. You were talking
No,
to me.
yeah, you're good. You're good.
So
1527 to 1608.
Gotcha.
this right here I'm reading you is just like a little tiny little blurb from like Wikipedia or some shit, and then I'm just gonna riff it off the cuff.
He lived a long life.
Yeah.
For back then?
Wait till you hear about his life.
He lived a really long life for back then.
I guess so, yeah.
That's right around 80 years. right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So check this out. John Dee was an English mathematician, astronomer, astrologer, teacher, occultist, and alchemist. He was the court astronomer for and advisor to Queen Elizabeth I, and spent much of his time on alchemy, divination, and Hermetic philosophy.
Whoa.
So literally, Queen Elizabeth I, he was her like
She
magician.
had a court wizard.
Yes.
Whoa.
And it was John Dee.
Whoa.
And John Dee is one of the most profound figures in all of esotericism, all of occultism, period. Because he was so good at alchemy and divination and things of the like, but he didn't actually have any inherent psychic ability. He had the knowledge. He had the practical application, the sort of like, I shouldn't say academic, but the understanding, the wisdom of what this knowledge meant. So what did his ass do? He went and found this guy named Edward Kelly, who was incredibly psychic.
Damn.
And what he did was he figured out a method to get his buddy Edward Kelly into these trance-like states and scry and communicate with entities or angels beyond the veil. And he created this entire language called it's the Enochian, like Enoch from the Bible,
yeah.
the Enochian keys or something.
Wow.
And this language that he supposedly scried from these angelic beings on the other side or on the other side of the veil or whatever, is literally used today by people such as like the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, which are very influential secret societies. The Ordo Templi
sure.
Orientis, the really dark-sided group, and Aleister Crowley. actually
Aleister Crowley?
Aleister Crowley.
Yeah.
It'll die. Don't sweat it.
No, it won't. I won't let it.
Well, I'm not sweating it because I'm filling out my bingo card over here.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
somebody in the Discord made a Bledsoe Said So bingo card. I think we shared it on Twitter.
We did.
Yeah.
Or on Instagram. Somebody literally was
You're
like,
doing
wait,
it?
where's Crystals?
Yeah, I've been filling out my bingo
You
card.
notice
this
Crystals
whole-
didn't make it on there?
I know.
Crystals should be the free space.
It should.
It's kind of, that
Yeah,
makes a lot
It's
of
kind
sense.
of a missed opportunity. But you know what? I'll take it.
Yeah,
It's
that's
great.
awesome.
A lot of effort put
Bledsoe
into
Said
it.
So bingo.
Yeah.
I'll let
We'll
you
have
know
to
when
go
I get
figure out
bingo.
Who made it? I can't remember.
Yeah, we'll shout them
I'll
out.
figure it out.
But like, I kind of want to bring up some of the spaces that I need, but I'm gonna be.
Don't cheat.
I'm
You
gonna be
can't
honest
cheat.
about
Yeah,
it.
You can't cheat.
Yeah, I
So
got
are
a
you-
sportsmanship award.
Are you gonna
once.
read some of the spaces at the end of the episode? That'd be pretty funny.
If I get bingo, I'll tell you what it was.
Okay.
And I can tell.
Are you actually like
He's doing it.
Yeah.
with me saying terms?
Yeah,
You're-
yeah.
Well, you and Nick, but yeah, if it comes up in
Yo.
the episode, I'm keeping track.
That's awesome.
I'm playing
Yeah,
bingo.
That's
He's
funny.
playing.
That was not planned. That was not planned.
No, I just decided to do it.
So go back to
So John Dee. So he and Edward Kelly communicated with these entities, created this language, and Aleister Crowley prominently used the Enochian keys for a lot of his ceremonial magic. It's still today an influential language of the occult because of what the alchemist John Dee did on behalf of Queen Elizabeth I. And you know what his code name was
what?
for Queen Elizabeth? Because he was also a spy for the royal court.
What?
007.
No way.
Yeah, that's true.
Are you shitting me?
That's where it comes from. Yeah.
Okay, that makes me want to do a binge of the 007 movies and look for esoteric shit.
There might be, man. I
might
haven't seen
be.
him in a long time.
It's been a long time
Yeah,
for me too.
but
hey,
Ian-
by the way, if anybody out there on Twitter or Discord or whatever, if you know something about some like esoteric significance of the James Bond movies, I would love to hear about that. And I'll share it. I'll
that'd be
share it
cool.
on my Twitter. That'd be really, really cool. There might be nothing, but that is crazy. So he's like the OG 007?
Yeah.
Wow.
But see, it's speculated that he may have spoken with some entities that might not have been so good, because one of the things John Dee reported that the angels communicated to him was that he should share his wife with other men. So, like, he totally let Edward Kelly bag his wife.
Really?
Pretty sure, yeah.
Wait, are you drawing that conclusion?
No, I'm
I'm
reading it.
Whoa.
Yeah, like he shared his wife with,
It-
because the angels said I gotta let my friends lay with my wife, so
Lay with her.
can't argue with angels.
It was actually just Edward Kelly, like an elaborate ruse.
Like Joseph
Yeah,
Smith?
Yeah.
Like Joseph Smith.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the Mormon guy,
It was.
right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, that's hilarious. We were okay. So with Marky and Bobby about to be coming to town this, which obviously for the listener, they're here in town now. We're going to record them in 2 episodes. But explaining to my wife like what they're about and why I wanted to record with them, she was shocked. She was like, "I had no idea Mormonism was like that." She knew nothing.
Yeah.
So what did we do? We watched the South Park episode.
Oh,
Have you seen that episode?
Oh my God, it's classic.
It's funny.
It's
Alex,
one of the best
you should check
ones.
it out, man, because it actually tells the story of how he formed Mormonism, but like it's
South Park.
South Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I'll
But
have to check it out.
Which those are also the guys who wrote the play, The Book of Mormon.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were Mormons.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, my 3 favorite South Park episodes are World of Warcraft.
Yeah, Lord of the
Mormonism.
Rings.
I love that one. It's amazing. But the Scientology one.
The one with R. Kelly in the closet and Tom Cruise. I think.
Yeah. And it like flashes on the screen. This is actually what Scientologists believe. Like when they're telling the origin story of
Yeah,
Scientology, it literally says on the screen.
I'm
this
pretty
is.
sure they do that for the Mormon episode.
I think
too.
so too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they do. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so like alchemy is just. I would like to do a part 2 of alchemy, maybe where we go a little bit deeper.
I think we're gonna start doing that with a lot of our topics. We're gonna
Yeah.
start revisiting. because-
Actually, kind of revealing some of
Yeah.
the knowledge at more of an in-depth scope.
Yeah, because for the time being, we're sticking to 1-hour episodes, and we can only cover so much in an hour with how ADHD we are. So I think we'll start doing part 2s to a lot of our.
Yeah, for sure. And like following up on some topics and doing a little bit more of a deeper dive.
Yeah,
But also, I feel like this is just more approachable for.
I agree.
Anyway, so I can't believe this even didn't cross my mind. One of the other most famous, I highly recommend people read the works of this figure. And it's not like they're long. This was written in like the 14 or 1500s. It's a man by the name of Paracelsus. It's I'm pretty sure it's a Greek name.
That's definitely
Paracelsus.
Paracelsus.
He's arguably one of the most famous alchemists of all time, and he is one of the writers who really, like, when you read his works, you begin to touch the core of alchemy and understand that it was a spiritual practice and not just a physical, like, I'm tinkering with potions, like they have you believe. That it was truly an esoteric, mystical path of illumination. It's illumination.
And when was this Paracelsus around? When did
I think he was around the 1400s.
Gotcha.
Alex, could you look that one? I can Google it. It's okay.
Paracelsus?
Paracelsus. He's incredibly influential alchemist. And I've actually read some of his texts. And he actually, I want to say he may have written some of the Hermetica.
1493 to 1541.
Hey, you were close. You were super close. 1400.
Paracelsus. He may have written some of the Hermetica, if I'm not mistaken. But he was a very influential alchemist. And man, I'm sorry to say, but we're running out of time. I feel like we barely even scratched the surface of alchemy.
So quick. That went by super quick.
We've got to do a part 2.
Yeah, and we could, if we really want to, we could do a part 2 sooner than later.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, because I think we had a lot of people in the Discord stoked for alchemy, for an alchemy episode.
And I always feel like I underdeliver, but whatever.
I think you do a great job.
Thank you. Let us know in the comments if you'd like a part 2. I mean, we haven't really done a part 2 to anything yet, but we just passed our first year and we're trying to kind of like refine the craft. So let us know if you'd like a part 2.
We're welcome to all of your thoughts. We want this to be influenced by our audience too. We want, you know.
Yeah, and it's like we do have a specific vision in our heads for like what we're doing here, but we're taking
always open to suggestions.
We're taking what we like that we read and running with it. So, you know, if you'd like a part 2 on alchemy, let us know. Yeah. I've kind of fully intended, as Nick eventually moves here someday and we can break into actually focusing on recording like an episode per week as opposed to 3 every 2 weekends when we scramble to get together, kind of maybe doing a little bit longer episodes.
Oh, we're gonna start doing 2 or 3 hour episodes.
Yeah, and like going deeper on some topics.
Unfortunately, it'll probably be a year or so from now, but hey, hang in there with us, have a good time with us, and it's only getting better from here.
Yeah, we're just making that vision crystal clear. So
crystal clear,
but that's not on the bingo card, so
it's not. Do we want a review of the? I didn't get bingo. Do we want to review it?
Give us what you got. Yeah.
Okay, wait. First question though. You said gnosis. Do I get to scratch off Gnosticism?
We'll give it to you, bro. We'll give it to you. We'll give it to you.
I didn't even mention Gnosticism.
We'll do it in a part 2.
All right, fine. So I'll give myself that one. And then I did not make bingo only because we didn't talk about any merch or bring up New Age Drip. But I'll tell you what I got. New Age Drip would have been bingo for me then. I got entities, Gnosticism, the occult, beings of light, Hermeticism, Aleister Crowley, free space, magic, collective consciousness, the age of Aquarius, and Dionysus.
Damn! You almost got a bingo.
Listen, man, we got a formula here.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we're just like taking these archaic concepts and just like embedding them in people's consciousness. Oh, I got to tell you, bro. In the Turtles game, Shredder's Revenge.
Yeah.
In the very beginning, one of the first things they say, and it could be innocuous, it could be nothing, but I don't ever believe these are nothing. I think it's either Bebop or Rocksteady. One of them says something like, "Let me make this crystal clear." And then throughout the game, part of the little secret collectibles you find are crystals.
No way.
I'm telling you, man, it's everywhere.
Crystals are everywhere.
They're everywhere.
They're on my arms.
Yeah. Actually, shout out Nick Hinton. He sent me something the other day. Let me read this. I need to get back up with him, and I've just been so busy, but you'll like this. He sent me this text the other day. Almost there.
He was just on Duncan Trussell's podcast. I think today the episode came out, and they were talking about you and
yeah,
the Bledsoe
I heard.
family.
I heard he definitely talked about us on there.
He's been on there twice, and both times he talked about you and your family.
He said people are so quick to dismiss. He sent me this as a screenshot. People are so quick to dismiss crystals as just rocks, but did you know you have about 5 million magnetite crystals per gram of tissue in your brain?
Yeah.
Each human brain, on average, contains 7 billion particles of magnetite. Basically, you are a fucking crystal, bro.
Your brain is a crystal. Like the thing that holds your mind and soul is a literal crystal. Everything's crystals, bro. In that phone, there are crystals.
Yeah.
There's crystals everywhere.
Everywhere. Quartz crystals, yeah.
Right.
I'm crystal dripping, dude. Look at that. look. So Nick's wife, Casey, made me this Sunstone bracelet. Mm-hmm. So what did I do? My bitch ass went out and bought a moonstone bracelet to kind of balance that one. And then I got my lapis lazuli because that's what the pharaohs were buried with.
Yeah.
back in ancient Egypt. And then I got my little 7 chakra bracelet. And then you got to have the quartz to kind of power them all up. Oh, man, we didn't even talk about the Saiyans and how their power is they let go of their, because essentially every time they go Super Saiyan for the first time, they have to overcome these extreme emotional blocks.
Yeah.
They transmute their inner nature and they literally start shining like a being of light.
Yeah,
gold.
Golden.
It's so esoteric. Anyway, I could go on and on. Alchemy is this massive breadth of a topic that it requires a laser focused study, but we wanted to get our feet wet amongst other things.
We got our feet wet, and next time we're diving in full force.
Yeah. All right. You ready to hit him with the BG, dude?
I'm ready, BGs.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Bye,
guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more, check out our other videos.
And before you go, don't forget to subscribe. See you next week.
Peace.